fuerte. Vean cómo está. Y está peor del que...
Hurricane Beryl strengthens back into a Category 3 storm as it nears Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula.
Así se vive la inminente llegada del huracán Beryl esta tarde desde la zona hotelera de Cancun.
Tulum, Mexico. After leaving a trail of destruction across the eastern Caribbean and at least 9 people dead, Hurricane Beryl strengthened back into a Category 3 storm late Thursday as it shoved over open water toward Mexico's resort-studded Yucatan Peninsula. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said Beryl, which was the earliest Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic, now had winds of 115 miles per hour, 185 kilometers per hour, after weakening earlier Thursday. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador issued a statement saying Beryl may make a direct hit on Tulum, which, while smaller than Cancun, still holds thousands of tourists and residents. Jack Bevan, senior hurricane specialist at the U.S. Hurricane Center, said the biggest immediate threat now that the storm is moving away from the Cayman Islands is landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula. The storm's center was about 135 miles, 220 kilometers, east-southeast of Tulum, Mexico, and was moving west-northwest at 16 miles per hour, about 26 kilometers per hour, the Hurricane Center said. Beryl was expected to bring heavy rain and winds to Mexico's Caribbean coast before crossing the Yucatan Peninsula and re-strengthening in the Gulf of Mexico to make a second strike on northeast Mexico. As the wind began gusting over Tulum's white sand beaches on Thursday afternoon, four-wheelers with megaphones rolled along the sand telling people to leave. Tourists snapped photos of the growing surf, but military personnel urged them to leave as Beryl headed to an expected landfall around Tulum early Friday. Over the past days, Beryl has damaged or destroyed 95% of homes on a pair of islands in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, jumbled fishing boats in Barbados, and ripped off roofs in Jamaica before rumbling past the Cayman Islands early Thursday. In Playa del Carmen, most businesses were closed Thursday and some were boarding up windows as tourists jogged by and some locals walked their dogs under sunny skies. In Tulum, authorities shut things down and evacuated beachside hotels. Francisco Bencomo, general manager of Hotel Yuma in Tulum, said all of their guests had left. With these conditions, we'll be completely locked down, he said, adding there were no plans to have guests return before July 10th. Tourists were also taking precautions. Lara Marsters, 54, a therapist visiting Tulum from Boise, Idaho, said, "This morning we woke up and just filled all of our empty water bottles with water from the tap and put it in the freezer. So we will have water to flush the toilet." But once Beryl re-emerges into the Gulf of Mexico a day later, forecasters say it is again expected to build to hurricane strength and could hit right around the Mexico-US border at Matamoros. That area was already soaked in June by Tropical Storm Alberto. Maliksi said temporary storm shelters were in place at schools and hotels, but efforts to evacuate a few highly exposed villages, like Punta Allen, which sits on a narrow spit of land south of Tulum, and Mahahual, further south, have been only partially successful.
And noticing some of this beach is disappearing. There was a lot.
Beryl's worst damage appeared to be behind it. Its eye wall brushed by Jamaica's southern coast on Wednesday afternoon, while on Thursday morning, telephone poles and trees were blocking the roadways in Kingston. Authorities confirmed a young man died on Wednesday after he was swept into a stormwater drain while trying to retrieve a ball. A woman also died after a house collapsed on her. Residents took advantage of a break in the rain to begin clearing debris. 60% of the island remained without electricity, along with a lack of water and limited telecommunications. Government officials were assessing the damage, but it was hampered by the lack of communication, mainly in southern parishes that suffered the most damage. Michelle Forbes, the St. Vincent and Grenadines director of the National Emergency Management Organization, said that about 95% of homes in Mayaro and Union Island have been damaged by Hurricane Beryl. 3 people were reported killed in Grenada and Carriacou, and another in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, officials said. Three other deaths were reported in northern Venezuela, where 4 people were missing, officials said. One fatality in Grenada occurred after a tree fell on a house, Kareem James, the environment minister, told the Associated Press. Separately, the U.S. National Hurricane Center said on Thursday that Tropical Storm Aleta had formed in the Pacific Ocean off Mexico's coast. Aleta, which was located about 190 miles, 310 kilometers, from Manzanillo, and had maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour, 65 kilometers per hour, was forecast to head away from land and dissipate by the weekend.